morning to all of you. I welcome all to this second lecture of module number 2, that is glass processing 1. If you remember, in module number 1, when we started this course on processing of non-metals, we have seen that what are the various types of engineering materials, what are the various types of manufacturing processes, and how the properties of the materials affect their manufacturability. We have seen so many examples where we have seen that hardness, melting point are some of the properties of the materials which have to be taken into account when we are going to manufacture or process these materials. In lecture number 2 of module 1, we have briefly differentiated between the physical and the chemical properties of the metals and the non-metals. Since our course is on processing of non-metals, our focus was on the various processing techniques which are used for processing of various types of materials which have the properties equal to or similar to the non-metals. In that direction, our first module was on processing of glass or glass structures, properties and processing. In lecture number 1, we have focused on the structure and the properties of glass, where we have seen that what are the various types of glasses. Normally there can be, broadly we can say, there can be more than 500 types or forms of glasses which are available today and which are used in various applications depending upon the requirements. For example, for chemistry lab equipment, we require sometime a glass which can bear elevated temperature or high temperature. Sometimes we want to make a glass which is shatter proof, sometimes we want to make a glass which is opaque, or sometimes it is transparent. So depending upon the requirement, there can be different types of glasses which can be used in various engineering applications. So in the lecture number 1, we have seen that what are the various types of raw materials that can go into the manufacturing or processing of a glass. Moreover, we have seen that on the basis of the raw material, how the properties are dictated, that a glass which we have processed with a specific set of inputs will have specific requirements or specific applications, and if we modify the input, we can make a different type of a glass. So basically we can control the constituents that will go into the making of a glass, and finally the final properties of the glass would be dependent upon the constituents. Also the final properties depends upon the processing technique that we have developed or that we are going to use, and the shape, size of the final glass that we are going to make will depend upon the processing technique that we are going to follow for processing of glass. So if you remember, or a brief summary of what we have discussed in lecture number 1, we have seen the properties and the structure of the glass and how these properties will affect the processing of glass. In today's lecture, we will see that what are the various manufacturing techniques. So we, in this particular module, we are going to have 3 lectures. Lecture number 1, we have already discussed the properties and structure of glass. In the other 2 lectures, that is lecture number 2 and lecture number 3, our focus primarily would be to the processing of glass, as the course is on processing of non-metal. So our major focus in all the modules would be on the processing aspects of materials rather than the chemical and the physical aspects of the materials. Although we would briefly be outlining the physical and the chemical properties of the materials, because these are the properties which would further dictate the processing of the materials. So we will also focus on the mechanical properties, as if you remember, as we have already seen in lecture number 1 of module 2, that what is the stress strain behavior of glass, that when the glass has been made, how it would behave in a particular application when loaded under tensile conditions or under the compressive conditions. So our focus primarily is on the processing techniques, and therefore we would be seeing that how different forms of glasses or different types of glass can be made. So broadly the processes can be classified on the type of glass that we manufacture. For example, we can have a float process in which flat glass sheet will be made. We can have a process in which the glass wool can be made. We can have a process in which the glass can be processed in the form of fibers. We can have a process in which the glass can be processed in the form of tubing. In another case, we can have a tempered glass, we can have a laminated glass. So there can be different types or forms of glass that can be processed using a number of techniques. So in today's lecture, our focus primarily would be to highlight the basic aspects of some of these forms which we have already discussed. So briefly summarizing what we have already covered in lecture number 1, we have covered the structure and properties of the glass. Today I have summarized that these are the properties or these are the structures of the basic glass which would dictate. So basically the structure and the properties of the glass would finally define the processing techniques which can be employed for the processing of glass. So we can very easily now correlate that we have to, in each and every module, first focus on the properties of the material, and then these properties would be the guidelines or would dictate the processing of those materials into the final shapes or final forms or the final products. So we have already discussed in lecture number 1 the basics of the glass, and today we will focus our attention on the processing techniques. So with this introduction to today's lecture, let us start now the processing techniques for the glass. On your screen you can see that glass manufacturing stages or glass processing stages can broadly be classified or can broadly be summarized as on your screen. So the very first stage is the raw material stage, in which we have to manipulate, we have to control the proportion of the various constituents that go into the manufacturing of the glass. So we have to see that what are the various types of raw materials that will go into the processing of glass, and there are some raw materials which are completely essential to make the glass. So we have seen in lecture number 1 that what are the various types of glasses on the basis of the raw materials that are used to process these glasses. So by the name we can see that there are different types of glasses which we have already covered, and I will not repeat in today's lecture because today we are going to focus on the processing techniques. But we have seen in the previous lecture that what are the various types of glasses on the basis of the raw materials that go into the glasses. So first important point is the raw material, because we have to first manipulate or we have to first decide on the proportions of the raw materials that will go into the processing of the glass. Second is the melting of the raw material. There are different types of furnaces which are used to melt the raw materials. We will see that if the time permits in these 3 lectures, our focus would be to at least briefly outline the what are the various types of furnaces which are used for melting the raw materials. So the first stage is manipulation or the combination of the constituents depending upon the final properties of the product that we are going to make out of glass. So depending upon the final requirements, for example, we want to make a bulletproof glass. So for bulletproof glass we have to decide on the constituents in the first stage only, where we are deciding what are the raw materials. Suppose we want to make a self cleaning type of glass, there also we have to decide that what are going to be the raw materials that will go into the glass. So once the raw materials we have decided, sometimes after making the glass also, depending upon the final requirement, it may be coated. So there also are the material of the coating has to be decided, that this particular glass would be coated with which type of material, and it should form a proper bonding so that it is able to satisfy the design requirements of a particular application. So first 2 points are that we have to decide on the raw materials that will go into the glass, processing of glass, and secondly we have to, second stage is the melting of those raw materials. And once the material have been melted, it has to be formed. If you remember in lecture number 1, we have seen that deformative processes are one of the important processes for processing of materials. So here also, once we have the raw materials, we have melted the raw materials, we have to give them the required shape. As I have already told in the introduction to today's lecture, that we may be requiring glass in the form of a tubing, We may require glass as a flat sheet, we may require glass in the form of glass wool, we may require glass in the form of fibers. So depending upon the final shape or the final form of the glass that we want to manufacture, at third stage we will give that shape, and that will be given by the stage of forming. So the first three stages are, we have the raw materials, we melt them, and then using one or the other technique we give them the desired shape. And finally, due to the processing and the high temperatures involved in the glass processing, there are bound to be thermal stresses that may develop, or there would be certain induced stresses in the final glass that we have manufactured, and therefore this particular glass has to be annealed. So the process of annealing would be done, which we have already seen that heat treatment processes are done in the case of metals in order to relieve these stresses and for grain refinement in certain cases. So here also in terms of glass processing, we will do annealing in order to reduce the induced stresses which have been there in the final glass because of the processing. So the fourth stage is the annealing stage. So basically these are the four stages in glass manufacturing processes. Once again we can revise that what are these four stages. The four stages are, the raw materials are combined together, this mixture or these we can say combination of the various constituents of the raw which fall under the category of raw material are combined together, they are put in a furnace or a melter where they are melted, and after melting this particular glass or this particular constituent, various constituents that form the glass go into a deformation. Depending upon the final shape that we want, we have different deformation or forming processes where different shapes will be given to the molten glass which has already melted in the melter. So the shapes that we can make or that we are going to discuss in today's lecture are, we can make a flat glass, we can make glass wool, we can make glass fiber, we can make glass tubing, we can make laminated glass, we can make tempered glass. So all these shapes would be given in the forming stage, and once the glass has been formed into the desired shape, the final glass that we have got would be annealed, and the annealing is done in order to remove the internal stresses or the induced stresses due to the processing stages, various processing stages. So once the stresses have been relieved, we will go for the inspection and testing of the glass. Why inspection and testing is required? Because the glass has to perform the desired operation or function depending upon the application for which it has been processed or it has been manufactured. So once we have a particular application in mind, the testing and inspection would be done, that whether the glass which has been processed with the initial four stages on your screen would be able to meet the stringent design requirements for which it has been made, or whether it would be able to satisfy the application for which it has been processed. So various inspection and testing techniques would be used to check the suitability of the glass for a particular application. The next step is the secondary processing. Sometimes in secondary processing we may be requiring to make holes so that this particular glass sheet can be processed or can be made or assembled with another part which may be wood or metal or any other material. So secondary processing can be certain finishing operations, those can be certain machining operations, those can be certain types of coatings that have to be given on the glass for specific applications. So depending upon the final usage or the final application, many a times secondary processing would be imperative or necessary so that the glass that we have made is finally put to its desired application. Some of the secondary processing techniques I have, secondary processing methods I have already told, or the secondary processing requirements we have already discussed, which are really important. And finally, the packing, warehousing and shipping, that is the packing, warehousing and shipping would be done depending upon the requirements. Now we know that glass is brittle and there are chances that it may shatter. So we have to pack it properly, and we have to store it properly, and we might have seen many a times it is written on the cardboard that handle with care, which means that when we are warehousing and shipping the glass in the various containers, these containers should be marked properly so that the glass inside the containers or inside the boxes should not break. So, this particular slide gives us the summary of the basic manufacturing processes or the basic manufacturing stages, we should say, or the basic processing stages which go into converting the raw material of a glass into the final shape that is usable. So, basically we can revise once again, because this is important, because this is what we are going to discuss in the subsequent slide, where the basic processing would be given. So, in basic processing our focus would be on the two stages only, that are the stage number 2 and stage number 3 on your screen, in which we will consider that we have already got a molten glass or the melting glass from the melter or the furnace. So, we have already got a molten glass. Now, how a particular shape would be given, how the glass would be formed into a particular shape, that would be our focus. So, we would focus annealing in the next lecture, but today our focus would be on the first 3 stages, but primarily we are not going to discuss the raw materials which will go into the processing. Why? Because in lecture number 1 we have seen that depending upon the raw material, what are the various types of glasses that we can make. Today our focus is that what are the various shapes and how those shapes can be made out of the raw materials. So, our focus primarily would be in the stage number 2 and the stage number 3 of processing. But just to have a brief overview of what are the various processing stages for glass, we can see that we have a constituents, we have the raw material which is melted. Once it is melted, it can be formed into any given shape, which is done in the forming stage. Once the glass shape has been got, we have got a glass in the form of a plate or a sheet or in the form of a fiber. It may have certain induced stresses which have to be relieved, which can be relieved by the annealing process. And once annealing has been done, we do the inspection and testing of the glass, so that we want to check the suitability of that particular glass for a particular application, and then the secondary processing is done, which may even require making of holes, and finally the packing, warehousing and shipping of the glass is done. So, now by one we will see the various processes that will be used for processing of glass into various shapes. Now, these glass forming processes basically are, we can see, commercial glasses loosely can be classified into following categories. Now, we would definitely like to make the glass in any of these forms, because these are the primary or general forms of glass which are used in our everyday applications or everyday products. So, we can see we can have a flat glass, we can have a flat glass, we can have fiber glass, we can have glass tubing, we can have tempered glass, we can have laminated glass. Now, depending upon the requirement, we will have different types of glasses, and the processing techniques for all these type of glass would be different. Basic stages would be same as we have seen in the previous slide, that we will have the raw materials, we will melt the raw materials, we will form the raw materials into the desired shape, and finally when we have got these shapes, for example we have got a glass tubing, if there are some internal stresses that are present, it would be annealed in order to relieve those stresses, and finally the inspection and testing would be done, and the later stages of the product development cycle. But primarily these are the various forms or various shapes of glasses which are used in our everyday applications. Now, the processes that are used for processing of glass would also depend on these shapes. For example, for a flat glass we will have a different process, for glass tubing we will have a different process, and similarly for a laminated glass we will have a different process. So now we will see one by one that what are the various processes that are used for processing the glass into these types of commercially available glasses. Flat glass, that is the first type of glass. Processing of flat glass are of two types. Now two types of processes can be used for flat glass. First one is there on your screen. We will try to understand it with the help of a figure also, but in order to have an idea how float glass process works, let's see. In a float glass process, a ribbon of glass is made. In this process, a ribbon of glass is made by pouring the molten metal or the molten glass, sorry, not the metal. These are the processing techniques for glasses, so our focus is on glasses. So in this float glass process, a ribbon of glass is made by pouring molten glass from the furnace. I have already told that furnaces are used to melt the raw materials which will further be used or formed into the given shape, and this particular process is focusing on the flat glass, and the name of the process is float glass process. So in this process, a ribbon of glass is made by pouring molten glass from the furnace to a bed of molten metal such as tin, lead and low melting point alloys under controlled atmosphere. It is not only tin and lead can be used, other low melting point alloys can also be used. So the bed would be made up of the molten metal such as tin, lead and low melting point alloys, and the temperature and the other important atmospheric conditions would be controlled. So in this process we have a ribbon of glass is made by pouring the molten glass from the furnace to the bed of the molten metal. So in this particular case the raw materials are melted. Since we want to get a flat shape, therefore a ribbon means flat geometry. So a ribbon of molten glass is poured over the molten metal. So we have a bed of the molten metal, and the molten metal is of any low melting point alloy. So examples are given on the screen. We can have tin, lead or any other low melting point alloy. So we have a bed, and on top of this bed we are pouring the molten glass, and the glass is in the form of a ribbon. So the molten glass floats on a thin bath of molten metal and then moves through the temperature controlled kiln, which is also known as the layer, and finally the glass solidifies. So first of all we have the raw materials, we have melted them in a furnace, and a ribbon of the molten glass is poured over the molten alloy of any low melting point alloy, and finally the molten glass floats on the thin bath of molten metal and then moves through the temperature controlled kiln, which is also known as the layer, and finally the glass solidifies. So I have revised or I have said whatever is written on the slide 2 times so that we are able to understand that how and what are the various, we can say, steps involved. So we will try to understand this with the help of a diagram, but the important variables that have to be controlled in order to process a flat glass by this process, these are the variables are: the temperature of the glass is maintained at 1000 degrees centigrade for a long period of time to separate irregularities and to get the desired flat surface. So basically our objective in this particular case is to make a flat glass, and for that we have to maintain a temperature of 1000 degrees centigrade for a fairly long period of time, and sometimes we want to remove the irregularities and the impurities from the glass, and therefore for a long period of time a elevated temperature is maintained. Glass produced by this technique has uniform thickness. Now these are the advantages of this process. The glass which is made, a flat glass which is made by this process, has uniform thickness, smooth surface and does not require any other further grinding and polishing. So the surface finish that we get is very good in this flat glass manufacturing or flat glass processing technique. So the quality that we are getting is good and the thickness that we are getting is uniform, and therefore this process is widely used for the processing of flat glass. So primarily what we have seen in this process, we would try to understand with the help of a diagram. On your screen there is a fairly simple diagram. This is the molten glass, this particular chamber. This is containing the molten glass, and this particular section is under the controlled atmosphere. This particular section on your screen you can see. This section is under the controlled atmosphere, and this is the molten glass. So once the raw material is available, we have already melted the glass flows through this controlled atmosphere. This is the heating zone, this is the cooling zone. So initially this particular glass or the molten glass would be heated, and finally it would be cooled, so that we get a solid cooled flat glass. And this is the molten tin. We have seen that molten metal can be of any low melting point alloy. So this is the molten tin. So in this molten bath, the glass would be processed into the flat glass, and these are the rollers which would continuously be rotating, and the finished glass would be rolling out. And once it has rolled out, there may be, because of a very high temperature which is maintained during the process, as we have already seen, 1000 degrees centigrade. So there are chances that there may be some induced stresses in the final flat glass that we have produced, which have to be removed. And how these can be removed? These can be removed by the annealing process. So what we have discussed till now is one of the processes for making the flat glass, which is the float glass process of forming the flat glass. So as we have seen, we can try to correlate this particular process with what we have discussed earlier, where we have seen that what are the processing stages of the glass. So we have a set of raw materials which are melted in the furnace and finally formed into the desired shape. So here we can see that we have a molten glass which is being processed now into a desired shape. Now what is the shape that we are getting? The shape we are getting is a flat glass. On top we have the heating zone and the cooling zone. So initially the molten glass is at an elevated temperature, and finally it is cooled to give it the desired shape, and this all process is taking place over the molten bed, and the molten bath is provided by any low melting point alloy. And in this particular diagram we have used tin as the low melting point alloy. So in this particular case we will get a flat glass sheet or a flat glass which will have uniform thickness and a very good smooth surface finish. So finally no grinding or finishing of the glass would be required. So here the thing is being carried out under the controlled atmosphere. So this is the process number 1 for forming the flat glass using the float glass process. Second is the drawing or the rolling process. In this particular process, the continuous stream of molten glass from a furnace, again the furnace is used. So the second stage is still there, the processing of glass. There are various stages: raw material stage, melting stage, forming stage and annealing stage, and finally the other stages like inspection and testing. So again the same route is being followed. How? The continuous stream of molten metal. It means a specific set of raw materials or the constituents of glass have been melted, and that stream of molten metal from the furnace passes through a pair of water cooled rollers. So there are two rollers which are water cooled, and the continuous stream of molten glass is passing through these rollers. And generally this process is used to make patterned glass and wired glass. Sometimes we may have a wired glass for specific applications or fire retardancy. So there we have to have specific applications. So we can have patterned glass in which we have a specific pattern on the glass, or the wired glass, and the process that is used for making the patterned glass and the wired glass is the drawing or the rolling process. So a continuous stream of molten glass from a furnace passes through two pair of water cooled rollers. On your screen you can see the diagram. We have a molten glass again here. This is a molten glass which has come from a furnace, or it may be in a furnace only. From the furnace the molten glass goes. These are the two rollers. These are the forming rollers which will give shape to the glass, and these are the supporting rollers which will roll out the glass, and finally it will go to the annealing stage. So this is rolling of flat glass. So we have seen that flat glass can be made by two processes. One of the processes we have already seen, and this is the second process on your screen. Once again we can see the process is fairly simple, but the control variables are very important. We have to maintain the viscosity of the molten glass. We have to select the rolling speed of the rollers. We have to see that how the rollers have to be cooled, how much cooling has to be provided. So the process variables have to be controlled, but certainly flat glass can be made by using this drawing or the rolling process. So on your screen again you can see that we have a molten glass which is rolled out by the forming rollers which are water cooled, and the rollers basically give shape to the glass, and this is the final glass or the flat glass that we are getting out of this rolling process. So we have seen that two processes can be used to make the flat glass, that is process number 1, and that is float glass method, and second is the rolling of the flat glass. So we can make the flat sheets or flat glass using two methods. So primarily what we have discussed till now is that there are few basic primary stages or the primary processing stages for glass which are common to all types of processing techniques. So we have seen that when we have to make a flat glass we can use two types of processes, and now we will see that if there is a change in the shape, what type of processes can be used. Suppose we want to make a patterned glass. This is made by passing the glass through the rollers at a temperature of 1050 degrees centigrade. This type of glass is made in a single pass process. Gap between the rollers are adjusted to get the desired thickness of the flat sheet glass. So we have already seen that patterned glass can also be made by the help of the rollers, and whatever pattern we want to make, that can be made in a single pass process. The temperature that is required, as you can see on your screen, is 1050 degree centigrade, and depending upon the final thickness of the flat glass that we want to produce, the center to center distance between the rollers would be adjusted so that we get the desired thickness. Again, there is no need to go for finishing because we will get a very good finish depending upon the requirement, as is this particular glass is a patterned glass. So there finally the secondary processing may not be required in most of the cases. So we have seen that when we want to make a flat glass, there are different techniques, and two of them we have discussed till now. So depending upon the final shape, we can have other processes which are well developed for processing of glass. Then another one is the wired glass. It is made by meshing steel wires into the molten glass by the rolling process. It is used for making low cost fire resistant glass which automatically breaks at high temperature. So wired glass is made for very specific applications, and how this is made? It is made by meshing steel wire into the molten glass by the rolling process. So we will have a definite, we can say, cross section of this particular type of glass, and we will have steel wires which would be present or inside the glass. So in this particular case, meshing of steel wire into the molten glass gives us a particular type of a glass which is called as a wired glass, and which has got specific applications. What are these specific applications? That is fire resistant glass which automatically breaks. When the temperature will be higher, this particular type of glass would automatically break. So these type of glass or these type of specific applications can be met by the processing techniques that we are discussing. So, we can make a flat glass, we can make a patterned glass, we can make a wired glass with the processing techniques that we have discussed. Now, coming on to the other type of the manufacturing of glass. In particular, now we want to make the fibers. In the previous process we have seen flat glass can be made. Within flat we have seen different categories of flat glass, but now our focus primarily is on the glass fibers. We will see how glass fibers are made. In one of our modules which we will discuss later, we will see the application of these glass fibers. Glass fibers would be used to reinforce the polymers. We would also be discussing what are polymers, what are different types of polymers, and we would be discussing the polymer matrix composites. And in these polymer matrix composites, the glass fibers will have a very huge role to play, because they would be acting as the reinforcing materials for the polymer matrix. And the composite that we will get with the reinforcement of the glass fibers would have properties which would be significantly better than the polymer itself or the glass fibers taken together. So, the composite will have a properties which would be the combination of the glass fiber and the polymer matrix. So, today in this particular lecture we will see that how glass fibers are made. So, when we will discuss polymer matrix composites and we will see the use of glass fibers in the various forms. For example, we can have continuous glass fibers, we can have short form of glass fibers, we can have glass fibers in the form of sometimes glass wool. So, depending upon the type of glass fiber we are using to reinforce the polymer matrix, we will have a different type of a composite. So, at that particular moment we may not be able to address that how the glass fiber or the glass wool is made, but this particular lecture is focusing on these aspects only, that how a flat glass can be made, how a glass fiber can be made, how glass wool can be made. So, these are the processes that we are going to discuss today, but this particular glass that we are manufacturing is very useful in advanced materials such as composite. So, it is really important to understand that how the glass is made into the fibers form or into the glass wool form. So, this particular discussion is important because this is going to help us in our subsequent module. So, this is important to understand that how glass is processed into various shapes. So, glass fibers basically, if we want to process them into a continuous glass fiber form, the process is fairly simple. Now, what are the various steps in the process that we would try to understand? The continuous glass fiber is produced by drawing molten glass through multiple orifices. So, we have a multiple orifices, large number of holes we can say, through which the molten glass would come out in the form of the fibers. So, once again I will read what is there on the screen. Continuous glass fiber is produced by drawing molten glass. Again, the raw material has been melted using any type of a furnace. So, the molten glass is coming out of the orifices. There can be large number of orifices. We will try to see or understand this with the help of a diagram, but before we go to the diagram, we should be able to understand that what are the terminology which would be present in the diagram or depicted in the diagram. So, we have a molten glass, we have orifices through which the molten glass would come out. The speed during drawing can be 500 meters per second. So, it is coming out at a fairly high speed. Fibers of small diameter, that is even 2 micrometer, can be produced by this process. So, very fine fibers can be made up to a diameter of 2 microns. So, the process is simple. We have a molten glass, we have orifices, and the fiber, the molten glass is coming out of the orifices, or it is being pulled or drawn out of the orifices at a fairly high speed, and very fine fibers to the tune of 2 micron, the diameter equal to 2 micron can be made by this process. So, on your screen you can see a very simple diagram. We have the molten glass and the orifice plate. The molten glass passes through the orifice plate in which there are large number of very fine or very small diameter holes, and these are the filaments of fibers which are coming out. On your screen you can see there are number of filaments which are coming out. So, two stages are already passed. Primary stage is the melting of the glass, then the second stage is the passing of this molten glass through the orifice plate, and because there are very fine holes here, we get the fibers or the filaments. So, these are the filaments of glass which are coming out of the orifice plate. So, these are the filaments. Now, these filaments, this spool is making these filaments into a kind of a fiber. Here you can see this is a continuous strand of the filaments, or we can say continuous strand of filaments is coming from here. This is a strand. We can see the diameter here of the strand is more than the individual filament. So, number of filaments which are coming down from the orifice plate have been combined together at this spool into the form of a continuous strand. We can see that the individual filament can be to the diameter of 2 micron to ranging from 2 micron to 10 micron to the 15 micron. So, it is very difficult to handle these filaments. So, therefore, the glass is processed into the form of continuous strands. So, different filaments would be clubbed together or wound together in the form of a strand, and these strands are finally used as the glass fibers. So, we have a continuous strand, the strand travels and there is a winder, and in this winder the strands would be wound. So, this is a continuous glass filament process. We have molten glass, we have a orifice plate, very fine filaments are coming out of the orifice plate, spool converts them into a continuous strand, and the continuous strand finally gets wound over the winder. So, this is a continuous glass filament process in which a continuous filaments of glass would be made. Now, suppose we want to make short glass fibers or glass, this is also called the glass wool process. We have seen in the previous slide that how the continuous glass fiber filaments can be made. Now, we want to see that how glass wool or short fiber can be made. So, we can see what is the process called or how the process is done if we want to make short fibers or the glass wool. In glass wool process, the molten glass is ejected from the rotating head by centrifugal spraying process. So, we have a centrifugal spraying process and their molten glass is present, and the molten glass is sprayed using this centrifugal spraying process. The rotating head or spinner cup contains more than 2000 holes. So, this particular cup or the spraying head contains, or the rotating head contains 2000 holes. Air is supplied from the top to direct the fibers downward and reduce the temperature. So, air has two important roles to play. First one is it has to direct, because once we are spraying, the small fibers or the glass wool may have the tendency to fly randomly. So, this has to be directed so that it goes and settle down at the place where we want to collect the glass wool or the short fibers. So, the air will direct the glass wool or the small fibers to the destination. So, air has first important role to direct the short fibers to their respective location, and second one is because the glass is at high temperature in the molten stage, it has to be cooled also. So, the second part, the second role the air has to play is in the cooling of the glass, short glass fibers. So, there are two stages that we have seen, that in glass wool process the molten glass is ejected from a rotating head by centrifugal spraying process. So, the rotating head is rotating at a high speed and the centrifugally we are spraying the small fibers. The rotating head or the spinner cup contains a large number of holes, out of which the glass would come out in the form of short fibers or the glass wool. Air is supplied from the top to direct the fibers downward and reduce the temperature. As the fibers descend or they come down, the binder is mixed to achieve the required wool criteria. Now glass wool has to be, different fibers have to be binded together. So the binder is added when the fibers are coming down. The amount of binder decides the wool mechanical properties. So when we are making the glass wool, the final properties would be dependent upon the amount of binder which we have injected when the glass was being formed, or it was being descending under the application of air or under the pressure of the air. The binder is added, and in this process fiber diameter can be achieved about 20 to 30 microns. If we compare with the first process, or in which the filaments were being made or the glass fibers were being made, the diameter was 2 micron, but here we are getting a higher diameter. So here we are getting the diameter which is equivalent to 20 or 30 micron. So in this particular process we can see that there is a rotating head, there is a air pressure, and there is a binder which is injected, so that we can get a very good quality glass wool. So a very simple or a fairly simple diagram is given on your screen. This is the rotating head or the spinner. The molten metal is present inside, and when this is rotating at this is the rotation which is shown. So when the spinner is rotating at a very high speed, it has large number of holes present, and the molten glass is inside. I think I have earlier mentioned molten metal. It is not molten metal, it is molten glass, because we are discussing processing of glass. So the molten glass is present inside the rotating head. There are large number of holes in this rotating head. The molten glass would be sprayed out because of the centrifugal spraying action as this rotating head is rotating. So because of the centrifugal spraying action, the glass in the form of small fibers of the diameter of 20 to 30 micron would be sprayed out, and we have a air pressure which would guide these small fibers onto the conveyor belt, and the conveyor belt is continuously moving, and we have these small fibers, short fibers, which are being sprayed on top of the conveyor belt, and they are coming down under the application of air pressure. Binder is also, we can say, manipulated here, or binder is also, we can say, mixed with the short fibers if we want to make a glass wool, and the amount of binder would dictate the final mechanical properties that we can achieve out of the glass wool which has been made by this process. So the binder is also, we can say, mixed during the process, and finally we will get the glass wool which is sprayed on top of this conveyor belt. So this is a glass wool process. So if you remember what we have covered in today's lecture, we have briefly reviewed what we have covered in lecture number 1 and lecture number 2 of module 1, in which we have focused on the engineering materials, their manufacturability, and the broad differentiation between the metals and the non-metals. In lecture number 1 of module 2, we have seen the history of the glass, that when the glass was started to be used for various applications. Then we have seen that what are the various properties of the glass, what are the various applications of the glass, and we have also outlined the basic structure of the glass. We have seen on the basis of the raw materials that go into the processing of glass, how the glass can be classified into various categories. In lecture number 2 today, our focus was to primarily understand that how glass can be processed into various shapes and into various products. We have seen that what are the primary processing steps or primary manufacturing stages in case of processing of glass. We have seen that we have a specific constituents or specific raw materials which are melted, and once melted they are deformed or formed into the requisite shapes. And once the shapes are got, there may be some stresses which are there which have to be relieved by the process of annealing. Once annealing has been carried out, we do the inspection and testing of the formed glass, and after that the certain secondary processing operations are performed on the formed glass, and finally it is shipped and warehoused. So these are the primary processing steps for converting the raw material into the final product, where the raw material is a glass. Then we have seen that how a flat glass can be processed. There were two processes that we have seen for processing of flat glass, and finally we have seen that how glass fibers or filaments can be made, as well as we have seen with the process that is still there on your screen, in which we have seen the glass wool process or how the glass wool can be made. So, today we come to the end of our lecture number 2 of module 2 with the title as glass processing 1. In our last lecture of this module, our focus would be on the other techniques which are used for making glass, and we will also focus on annealing as an important topic to relieve the stresses. So, with this we come to the end of lecture number 2 of module 2, and we will meet again to discuss the title glass processing 2, in which we will see other processing techniques and the annealing. Thank you.